Hi, Dr. Titus and class. My name is Lindsay Vayas. My path to study wildlife management comes from a conservation perspective, so that's likely the lens I'll be looking through. My fascination with wildlife began with a snorkeling trip while on vacation in Charlotte Amalie in the Virgin Islands as a kid, and has evolved since then. There's so much inspiration in pioneering scientists and conservationists. Jane Goodall needs no introduction. She's a naturalist and the world's foremost primatologist, but she's also a UN Messenger of Peace and a member of the World Future Council. One of Jane Goodall's most memorable quotes, for me, is, "You cannot get through a single day without having an impact on the world around you. What you do makes a difference, and you have to decide what kind of difference you want to make." One of the things that most intrigues me is that there's so much about this planet that we don't know. I know we're looking at land management and not management of the ocean, but I think this infographic about the depth of the ocean gives us an awe-inspiring perspective. This right here is the Burj Khalifa in Dubai, the tallest structure in the world since 2009. This guy right here is a sperm whale, and we know that they dive as deep as 3,280 feet. From this depth, they surface with wounds and sucker marks. So there's probably a giant squid that deep, maybe, but we don't really know what's down there. And this, we just have no idea. And even while we don't know what's out there, we're losing what we do know about. From habitat loss to climate change, humans are at the center of the sixth global extinction. Of the over 63,000 species we know of on this planet, nearly 4,000 are critically endangered. We've seen 63 species become extinct in the wild, like the Wyoming toad, where individuals persist only in captivity. An estimated 800 species have been wiped out as a direct result from human habitat conversion, introduction of invasive species, and overhunting. E.O. Wilson's call to arms is for the creation of an encyclopedia of life so that we can discover and understand the different kinds of life, all of the different species on this planet. Some of the biodiversity cards are available online, and this blood star is one of those cards. In addition to discovering what species are and where they are, there's also the bigger question: what are they all doing? E.O. Wilson also calls not just for conservation, but for changing the way that society operates in order to do so. In discussing species, he says, each is exquisitely adapted to the environment in which it lives, interlocked with other species to form ecosystems upon which our own lives depend in ways we have not begun to even to imagine. We will destroy these ecosystems and the species composing them at the peril of our own existence, and unfortunately we are destroying them with ingenuity and ceaseless energy. One of the ways wildlife management ties into conservation is through holistic ecosystem management. Why? Because everything depends on everything else. Our world consists of a cycle of relationships. Sea ice is an entire ecosystem. This graphic depicts multi-year ice. On the underside of the ice, there are over 300 species of microorganisms. And when the sun shines on the ice, algae grows under it. And with it, you get phytoplankton and these big sheets of seaweed, and the copepods that feed on them, and the big schools of fish that feed on those, and the seals that feed on those, and then eventually you get to the polar bears. In his 2011 TED Talk, Phil Nicklin refers to the sea ice as an inverted garden. Losing that ice is like losing the soil in a garden. And looking at this holistic way of ecosystem management is why I've chosen to study wildlife management.